Today, thanks to Perth City Skoda, we're going to find out what it takes to be a radio jock. I'm with one of the legends of Perth, Dean Clairs. How are you, sir?
I'm good, mate. Good to see you.
Now, I've been asked that. Clarify your height.
Oh, okay. Depends on age. Normally people go, what's 6'5"? And I go, oh, it's 195 centimetres.
So you're tall?
Yeah, lanky.
You're tall. How does a 6'5" young man feel in the seat you're in?
This is beautiful, mate. It's got style in the name. So.
And you got room? You have got room?
Yeah, stacks of room, yeah.
You've had a long career,
Yep.
a long career. You're one of those gentlemen that my mum would say, I know Clairsy, I listen to Clairsy. How did it start? How did you become who you are?
Well, I was doing media studies at high school, at Greenwood High School. So we're talking like 1981, 82. And I was obsessed with radio. I was a radio fan, old school radio fanboy. And my media teacher said, why don't you try and get a job in radio when you leave school? So I didn't know what else to do. So I rang Gary Roberts, who was running 96FM at the time. Funnily enough, I rang Gary Roberts with his big, deep voice. He answered the phone and I was shaking like a leaf. And I asked him if he had any jobs. This dumb kid ringing him up. And he said, Dean, most of the guys who work for me have done at least 10 years experience. So he said, go and get some experience and call me back. And the funny thing about it was, about 39 years later, I'd gotten some experience and he actually gave me a job before he retired.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The people that don't know who Gary is another legend in the radio industry.
He's a genuine legend of radio, yeah, and radio management. And he was the program director at the time, yeah. So I did take his advice and I went and got a job in Merredin in the Outback.
So the old story, you got to start in the country?
Yeah. I joke about it being the Outback, but it's a WA wheat belt, and it was the best place to start because it's really good people, but and you learn the craft on AM radio, and it was when vinyl was what we played, the first time, when vinyl was cool the first time. And you play on records before the digital world, so everything you're recording is on reel-to-reel tape machines, and it feels like 100 years ago now, but it was literally 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then so your career develops. What were some of the pivotal points where you knew, okay, I'm going to be able to pay the rent with this? Yeah, I was lasted in Merredin for a couple of years, then I went down to Bunbury and I felt like I was almost home, I was always very homesick out in the wheat belt. And then I got a job in Canberra because they had 2 FM licenses going. When I got a job in Canberra, it was to switch to FM. Mm-hmm. And I got a job at one and then I switched over to the other one. So I worked at a place called Kicks FM, which was a pure rock station. You don't really get many of them now. 96FM is about as close as you get to a pure rock station. And we had a good time for about a year. Then I got a job in Adelaide at a station called SAFM. I knew I was in a cap city situation. That was one of those times when I went, okay, we're doing okay here. We'll just keep motoring. And then I came home to Perth in 1989.
Okay, and so what are some of the skills that you think you've had to work on and develop that has kept you in the game?
Well, the first thing was to sound like yourself. Because the first 7 or 8 years of radio, I was bunging on a voice, which is ridiculous. Because if you've got a naturally fairly good voice for the airwaves already, you don't need to put on a voice, but you just do it. And you might have your headphones up too loud or whatever. So you just become yourself. And it was the great Gary Shannon who said to me one day when I was working with it in the early days of PMFM, he said, Clairsy, you need to get off your cool stool.
Oh,
and
really?
I knew exactly what he was talking about. You don't have to try and be anything other than who you are. And that was the time when, it was around that time, early 20s, when I went, okay, I'll just be myself. And you find that, it's funny how you have to chase around to find yourself. Yeah. So that was the key to being more natural.
Now, talking about Gary told me one time that he actually did his craft through actually doing DJing.
Yes, yeah.
At a roller rink. He did the trade, I suppose, through that live interaction.
Yes, yeah.
Did you do anything like that? Did you do anything to improve your natural communication?
I found, I did DJ when I was in Bunbury, so that was good.
See?
Yeah,
you did
absolutely.
do it.
Yeah, it was in a...
You've got to tick that box.
It was in a pub called Trapp's Pub Club, so you get to interact with people. But I found doing a lot of MC work helped as well, because you bump into a lot of different people who are your listeners and that kind of thing. And I've never really put a lot of weight behind going to A-list events or whatever they want, VIP type stuff, because they're not the people who are necessarily listening to you. So you get to go and relate to people who are going through the everyday normal kind of life, that kind of thing.
There had to be times where you went, is this working out? I mean, obviously you're in an industry where you can be at the top one minute and then at controversy the next minute.
Yeah.
How did you face those moments where you obviously might have been something else? How did you stay focused on what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, I went through a difficult time when I came back to Perth in '89. I came back to a radio station called The Eagle, which is now known as 6IX. And the Eagle was meant to be going FM. It was this great plan for Austereo to have an FM station. The FM license ended up getting handed back, so I found myself stuck in my mid-20s at a radio station. We were playing oldies from the 60s. And so I'm playing, all of a sudden I'm sitting there in my mid-20s playing Herman's Hermits and doing the pacemakers going, what am I doing? So the one thing it did do is it gave me the chance to learn more about old school music. So I developed more, whether that's Cream and the Beatles and the Stones and stuff like that. And I was a music director at the time as well. So that I used that to my advantage. And then I get a phone call from Leo Nelson at 6 p.m. saying they were going FM. They got the license we missed out on. And he said, John Burgess is not fitting in with the music format because he wants to be a personality still, a great personality, and always got on with John. But he goes, I want you to come and replace Burjo at PMFM. Okay. So how could I resist?
And Burjo's now in Perth.
Yeah,
you know that,
right.
don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
He likes you, Burjo.
Love Burjo.
You're friends. Because he's a big boy. He's a big boy as well.
Yeah.
He can still throw a left.
Oh, yeah. Champion 10-pin bowler. Bloody hell, I wouldn't argue with Burjo, even at 80.
Okay, well, so just to wrap it up, your favourite part of your journey? The favourite part of your journey?
Well, I must admit...
not rehearsed, so you've got to think.
No, but it does go back. There's lots of great things, and that's
other than meeting Burjo.
Yeah, and I met them. Meet your heroes. I met Dennis Lilly and Dennis Cometti and other people not called Dennis, like Gene Simmons from Kiss and stuff like that. So they're wonderful. But I have to say, it goes back to the start, and that is when Gary Roberts called me and he said, "Fred Boddicker's retiring." This is only a couple of years ago. Fred Boddicker's retiring. Will you come and do breakfast on 96FM with Lisa Shaw? And I'd known Lisa since the Eagle, and I said yes. So that was the dream come true. I'd never worked at 96FM, so that's the little radio fanboy.
Yes.
Going full circle. So
wow.
Doesn't get any better than that. Very lucky.
Wow. Would you link that back to there was maybe a bit of karma that came back from having a nice gentleman, strong call with Gary when you first spoke to him, and then maybe having that link of coming back and touching that point again? Quite
possibly. I think that, and then never burning your bridges on the way,
that was my point.
Yeah, that certainly helps. Yeah, I see some people that leave a place and they will nuke it on the way out. I never really saw the point of that, but it's not my nature anyway.
You are a gentleman. Thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. You can shake my hand just quickly. We're not moving.
No, we're not moving. No.
Now people should listen to
96FM. Breakfast from 5:30 till 9 weekdays on 96 with Lisa Shaw.
And currently right now they can win the car we're in.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is beautiful. What do they have to do?
All they're going to do is listen to the radio station, and we'll tell you when to call, get yourself onto the shortlist, and we'll give it away soon thanks to our friends at Perth City Skoda.
Mr. Clairs, you are a legend. I will tell my mum you said hello. Now if you'd like to find out more, make sure you go to skodaperth.com.au and follow the links and listen to 96FM for your chance to win this beautiful Skoda.
Thanks, mate. Good to talk to you.